Hello, peace be with you. I hope you are doing well and you can hear me today. It's the second teaching within the series dealing with the responsibility of Western Muslims, spiritual, religious, social, cultural, political, economic responsibilities of Muslims, of Western Muslims. And of course, all these teachings apply to Muslims living in Muslim majority countries or in the global south, as we say. So I will come to this and try to deal with some of the issues that we have dealt with last time and carry on the discussion about this. And I hope that you will be able to hear and to let me know that if everything is fine and that you can hear me. Thank you. So what we are going to deal with, as it is said as the title of the second teaching, is the very meaning of testimony, of being a witness, and what it means to be an agent of peace and reconciliation. This is the title. And the first teaching that we were dealing with, and we try to translate this, is the point is not for us to try to be accepted or to try to be tolerated or to try to find our place within the Western societies. It's very much about coming back to our very understanding of what it means to be a Muslim and in which way we have to bear witness to the truth, to the message before human beings, our fellow human beings. And it means, as the first principle of our presence, of our understanding, our self-understanding, that it's very much about, okay, what is my mission on earth and how I have to deal with the scriptural sources, the meaning of life, the meaning of death, and my involvement within the Western societies, and generally within every society, and in which we have to deal with this. So the point is very much the starting with a kind of psychological revolution. It's to change our mindset, as I said in the first teaching, and in which way we have to change our mindset, in which way we have to deal with the new context, or within the context within which we are today as Western Muslims. And I wanted to give this series of teachings because it's as if what I wrote 40 years ago, it's exactly the same. We are dealing with the same issues, with the same challenges, and sometimes with the same misunderstanding and the superficial understanding of some of the Islamic notions that we are dealing with, and the Western notions as well, the concepts, the understanding, the history, the culture that we have to deal with as Western Muslims, be it in the United States of America or European countries or Australia, whatever. So this is where we have to come to a deep understanding of our scriptural sources, a deep understanding of our responsibilities and our involvement within the society. So the point here is really to start with a notion that is central in our terminology as Muslims. And it becomes as well essential in our understanding our responsibility within the Western societies. So when we say that, okay, I'm a Muslim and I'm trying to connect to God and to remain connected to God and to remain close to God with my understanding, and to remain close to the Quran as a message that was sent to me personally, as it was sent to humanity, as it was sent through history to all the human beings, is to get the message and to understand the very meaning of what it means to be a Muslim. So here, this is where, as I said, the point is not to adapt ourselves to what the people are expecting from us, or what our fellow brothers and sisters, even within the community or within the Muslim community, the religious community, the spiritual community, are expecting for us. It's very much to come back to, okay, I'm dealing with God, I believe in God, I'm trying to be close to Him, and at the same time I got the message coming from His last revelation and all the other revelations before. Having said this, what I understand is that my relationship to God is very much first to be an innocent, and second to be and to build out of my consciousness the very meaning of my life. So it's about being, getting a meaning for my life, and then understanding that in the name of the my life's meaning, and me being a Muslim, to understand my mission on earth. And when we come with this, wherever we are, in Muslim majority countries or in the West or wherever, the first is to understand this mission and to understand out of it our responsibility, as I said, and our human responsibility, our social responsibilities, our cultural responsibilities, and in every field we have many, many responsibilities that we have to understand and we have to deal with. So this point is important for us when it comes to the way we have to deal with the relationship to God and our relationship to our fellow human brothers and sisters. Now, this understanding of ourself and this understanding of the world coming from our revelation, our religion, is something which is the starting point of our involvement. Having said this, the first notion that we have to deal with is something which what we have to do, what we have to express with our presence, is very much about spreading out of this notion of Islam. And Islam, I said it, the first teaching, in Islam there is two notions that are important. Illicit Islam, which is I give myself, I surrender to God, and then this relationship is out of my deep will, my deep understanding of what it means to be a human being. But at the same time, I'm here to spread peace, because in Islam there is salam, which is a space of security, a space of harmony. And it's all about this. All my life, it's to try to be for myself and for my fellow brothers and sisters in Islam and in humanity and in Islam, an agent of peace. And this peace means that I have to try to find a way to respect the balance, the equity, and at the same time the harmony and of the cosmos, and of myself first, the cosmos, the relationship with my fellow human beings. So it's very much about spreading peace and being an agent of peace wherever we are. Having said this, and the first with whom we have to promote peace, establish peace, is with our own self. And this is the starting point of everything, because if everything in Islam is about spreading peace, ifshu salam, as the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, والسلام, he said, ifshu salam, so spread peace. When we meet a Muslim, or we meet a brother or a sister who says, assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you, peace be with you. So what we are hoping for our brothers and sisters is peace, but what we need to get inside, in our intimate life, with our heart, with our body, with our mind, with our self, is the reality of this inner peace, which is the starting point of everything. It's the starting point, but it's not the exclusive point. And this is where our first responsibility is very much about take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. And this take care of yourself means that once we had, we were innocent and our prayers were natural. It's by our very meaning we were praying as the birds, as the trees, as nature, as everything. سَبَّحَ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. Everything on earth, in the cosmos, is praising God. So our innocence as a baby, as a child, is very much to be part of this harmony and this natural prayer coming from the cosmos and coming from every single element in the cosmos. As it is said, there is nothing in the earth, nothing on earth and nothing in the creation, which is not praising God, and but we don't understand. ولكن لا تفقهوا تسبيحهم. You don't understand their supplication and their prayers. So we were like this when we were born. And at one point, we become aware. We get this consciousness, which is our consciousness, which is we understand who we are. And with this, with the age, what we call the age of reason, which is the starting point of a taklif in Islam, that we have to respond to the call of God out of our responsibility and our consciousness. Means that at one point we have to understand this and we have to be involved in now something which is a transition between tabi'a, which is your nature, to a tarbiyya, which is your education. And your education thus starts straight, and the spiritual education, the religious education, start with our awareness, our consciousness, our understanding of who we are. And the break, so to speak, the rupture, we are jumping into something which is completely different from our innocent state to our responsible understanding of our responsibility as human beings, as believers. Now that what we understand this is that when we have this consciousness, we understand that we have to work on ourselves, that we have to educate ourselves. To do what? In fact, inside us, we have al-fitra, which is the natural aspiration towards God, yielding to God, trying to come close to Him, trying to remember Him, trying to respect and to implement the teachings. But to get this, the starting point is very much about educating ourselves to come close, educating ourselves to come back to the origin, to the fitra that we have. Because at the moment we are aware, at the moment we are getting this consciousness, we are separated from the natural aspiration, the fitra. So now we have to come back. So all our education is to train our mind, to train our heart, to train our body, to come back close to the original fitra, which was our natural prayer. Now it has to be a responsible, an adult, a reasonable, a spiritual, a religious prayer with what is necessary to achieve this. This process, it's something which is part of our responsibility if we understand that in the West, in societies where, it's very much about getting your work. Sometimes it's very materialistic. It's very much about getting money and consumerist society. A consumerist society could be very tricky because this is where you are defined by what you have, while everything in our spiritual teaching is you're going to be defined by who you are, and more importantly, the quality of your way of being close to God, your reverential consciousness, taqwa. So, inna akramakum andallahi atqakum, the best among you are the people who are getting this deep reverential consciousness, connecting themselves to God. So we have to try to become better. What do we do when we enter into Islam and get this is the notion I was talking about before? What do we do when we are talking about this very notion, which is the starting point of everything for us as Muslim? We say Shahada. We say Shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. I bear witness, I testify that there is only one God, and then the messenger Muhammad والسلام, is his servant and his messenger. We translate the Shahada, the testimony is before God. In fact, actually, in order for us to be a Muslim, being a Muslim, start with saying the Shahada. When we were before our awareness, before our consciousness, we were already in Islam without knowing it, by the very nature of our innocence and being a child and a baby. And then at the age of reason, we have to renew this connection with God by bearing witness, testifying. So, testifying before God means, okay, I acknowledge the fact that there is one God. I acknowledge the fact that in order for me to be close to Him, I have to follow the last messenger. And with the last messenger, peace be upon him, I'm following in the footsteps of all the messengers before, in order for me to come and to be close to Him. So the point here, it's an important one. It's an important teaching for us, and this is what we have to understand, and especially when we are living in the West. So why? Because once again, in the West, the way you are going to be defined, the way culturally, socially you are going to be defined, it's not normally about, the way you are dealing with morality and your dignity. It's very much, and this is where you are facing challenges in. By the way, it's a global phenomenon, because globalization now, it's a globalization of Western culture and civilization everywhere, even in the Muslim majority countries, even in the South. So when you understand this, when you understand what you have to do as Muslim is, a Shahada is before God. And it's being a Muslim now. Having said the Shahada, you have to try to remain a Muslim on the way, on the path towards coming back to your very essence, which is the fitra, which is in your heart, in your being, this aspiration that it's part of you being. You have to try to come close to it, because this is the way you are going to reconnect yourself, because Ar-Rahman made it part of you being, in order, out of His mercy, out of His grace, out of His compassion, out of His bounty towards us. It's this connection that we have to keep. So how are we going to first do this? What is said? And if you come back to Al-Quran Al-Kareem, it's an attitude, a mindset, a way you look at things, that it's coming out of your reading. Because when you look at things, you look at things that are around you. But what it said in the Quran is that you don't have to look only, you have to read. And the difference between looking at what is in front of you, just around you, and reading it, the reading means get the meaning. Reading means get the meaning. And get the meaning is, from the very beginning, with this awareness, you have to look at the cosmos around you, and to understand exactly as you have it in the Quran. وَالشَّمْسِ وَضُحَاهَا وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا تَلَاهَا. All what you have is that, look at the sun, look at the moon, look at the trees, look at night, look at days, and understand. The Prophet, peace be upon him, was crying a whole night because he got this message. إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ آيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. In the creation of the heavens and the earth, the alternation of night and day, there are signs. So, in fact, what you have to do is to look around you, to nature, to the cosmos, the infinite cosmos, the nature around you. And more importantly, also, when you look at the society, when you come back to the Quran, what was changing the mind, changing the heart of the first believers is, look at the poor people around you. The poor people around you are sending you a message that it's about their survival. It's about, you have to help them. So you understand that the very first teachings were really, look at the world and the creation and say thank you, be grateful. This gratefulness, it's something which, the starting point of everything. And sometimes we are forgetting this. If you are valuing or giving a value to yourself out of what you have, you are forgetting to pay tribute, to express gratitude for who you are. So, this first attitude towards the creation and then towards the poor people. كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتامى. You don't respect the dignity of the poor people. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, turning his face towards Allah, say, Allahumma nas'aluka hubb al-masakin. We're asking you to love the poor people. These are the first things that we have in the Quran, a way to look at the world, which is not to look but to read. اقرأ. Meaning now you have to read the world. And to read the world is to get the meaning. And to get the meaning is to reconnect. So what you got naturally out of your being with God as an innocent child, now you will have to connect as reading the world in order to be reconnected to God out of your consciousness. These steps are important in our understanding as Muslim, and these are the first steps that are essential in our understanding. And this is what we have to do. This is what we have to do as Muslims by understanding the steps through which we have to do this. This recognition of God's presence through His creation. And what we have to do here is just to try now with this to reconnect. And to reconnect is about renewing our intention, tajdeed and niyyah. And niyyah is, my intention is to try to be close to God and try to be with Him wherever I am, and try as well to reconnect to Him in every dimension of my life. Now, when I know this, I know that this is what I have to do, is this educating myself to remember. So it's very much about الذكر الذكر وجود الله, meaning the deep remembrance and the deep connection to remind myself that He is here and He is with me. Having said this, the second step with this understanding, it's an educational process. And the educational process is really about, okay, the more you will be connected to your first intention to be close to God, the more you are understanding, and you will get the necessity of educating your mind, educating yourself. It's about knowledge, it's about ilm, it's about get this understanding. And in order to understand and to respect the world, you have to come close to the light of the book, the creation, what the Creator sent. Al-Khaliq, the Creator, sent a message. And this message is to shed a specific light on His creation by bringing you back to the meaning. And by bringing you back to the meaning, it brings you back to your consciousness. And by bringing you back to your consciousness, you are coming close to your fitra, to the light that you have in your heart. This process, it's an educational process, it's an ongoing process. And then you have to care about yourself, to care about your mind, you care about your personal education, and to try to become a better person. And what is the way through which you are going to get this for yourself? This ongoing education is renew your intention, try to love the poor people, serve your fellow human beings, and look at the signs and read the signs of God's presence around you and in yourself, and try to work with your own self to get this inner peace. And this inner peace is really to understand that within yourself you have different dimensions and forces working. There is one natural way of dealing with the surrounding world, is God has put some centrifugal force spreading you and pushing you outside your own self. زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبِّ الشَّهَوَاتِ. So the people are attracted by anything which has to do with seduction, desires, and money, reputation. You have this. You have this force that is pushing you outside yourself, and there is a kind of a seduction and attraction outside. And at the same time, you have centripetal force pushing you to come back to your heart. And you can feel this. ولكن الله حبب إليكم الإيمان وزينه في قلوبكم. God has made you love this faith, and He beautifies it in your heart. So between the two, you have to reconcile these two dimensions to get this inner peace. So look at yourself. Don't deny something that is part of your being. This attraction is wanted by God. This natural aspiration towards God is also put in yourself, in your heart by God, by Allah. And what He's asking you now, it's the time of your awareness and consciousness. You have to take responsibility. You have to decide. You have to educate yourself to master what is pushing you outside yourself, and pushing you to be unjust with your own self, while you have to come to this harmony, helping you to get justice, this balance. وَأَقِيمُوا الْوَزْنَ بِالْقِسْطِ. You have to establish in your heart this balance with equity. This is an ongoing process, and you are responsible wherever you are. And it starts with being in the West as well. Which time? How much time do you take and you allocate to your personal education? Your personal, the education of your heart, the education of your mind, coming close to God and trying to renew your intention and to try to get this inner peace. Make peace with your own self, which is exactly the metaphorical lesson that we got from Adam and Hawa and Eve. It's exactly this. Allahumma zalamna anfusana. When they were attracted by the tree, and the tree was the expression of this is a forbidden element. Don't come close to it. It's not the tree of knowledge. It's not the tree of what is good and what. We don't have this in Islam. We are not qualifying. It's just a tree. Don't go there. And they were attracted. And this attraction, it's just what made them being aware that, oh, there is something which illicit and something which is licit, something which is forbidden, something that is permitted. We have to decide. And by doing this, this awareness is created in them the sense of responsibility, and there are limits and there are things that are permitted. And this is what you have to follow. It's an education. It's an education that we have to get. This metaphorical teaching here for all of us is to understand that when we are human beings, this is what we have to do in the process of our spiritual journey towards God, towards our own heart. We are coming back to our heart when we are coming back to God, wherever we are once again. So this is why the spiritual teaching is so essential in Western countries. And in Western countries is essential not as something which is a closed domain or area, or separating ourselves from the surrounding society. You will see that this is not at all what I am suggesting here, which is quite different. And this is why it's important to be responsible towards God. And having the Shahada before God means I'm taking care of myself. But Allah, God is asking you, لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. The same word is also what you have to do is to bear witness to the truth before human beings. So you have to remain a Muslim before me and show what it means to be a Muslim before and in front of them, that they have to see you, that you have to be visible. You have to be intimately connected to me with your Shahada, and you have to be visible for them with a Shahada, which is a way you bear witness to the message before human beings. Now, understanding this, the notion, the very notion of shahada here, it's critical. But at the same time, what we got for our personal journey is God, Allah sent the Quran, and He gave us principles to respect. And we know al halal halal wal haram haram. This is lawful and this is unlawful, and we have to know this. But in order for us to be disciplined, because education is about discipline and evaluation, He gave us what is on our way, the foundations. And the foundations is what makes us protected from the surrounding society. Arkan al-Islam. Arkan al-Islam is very much about, yes, you bear witness that and you testify that there is one God and the Prophet, peace be upon him. And if you love him, you have to follow him. If you قل إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني, if you love God, follow the Prophet ﷺ. Follow me, meaning here the Prophet. We know this, that we have to. So how are we going to follow him? It's by respecting and applying and implementing in our daily life what is going to give us some security, because there is no peace without security. It's not going outside like this, I'm secure in my heart and I'm ready for everything which is coming from the West. No. It's going to be, it's very tricky and it's very difficult. It's very challenging, and it's very, very easy to go astray in any society, and especially in Western societies where, as I said, the centrifugal forces are very powerful. Losing yourself, losing your connection with your heart because of all the dimensions, reputation, money, consumption, etc. Which is very much about, forgetting yourself in order to be happy. While the Quran and the spiritual teachings are never forget yourself. It's the only way to be happy. It's remember. It's about remembrance. It's about dhikr. It's about responding to the call. Now, when we see this, when we understand this, and we understand that we need the pillars, yes, it's important to pray, because it gives you this inner peace connecting to God and security from the surrounding societies and human being. Exactly the same when you give the money. You give the money, it's a process where you make peace with yourself by purifying your money. You make peace with yourself by purifying your heart when you pray. You make peace with yourself when you are purifying your body when you fast. And you purify your life when you perform the pilgrimage, which is the image of what life is. Coming from God, going to the center, and coming back to yourself, while the center is yourself. So life, it's a pilgrimage. Your life, it's a pilgrimage. And on the way, pray, fast, give a zakat, remember God, and have a disciplined way of being connected. Discipline and self-discipline and self-understanding is the starting point, the central point, the critical point of everything when it comes to be a Western Muslim, a contemporary Muslim, whatever, by the way. And by the way, when you say لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ, it's only to bear witness to the truth. It's before human beings. It's not only your brothers and sisters or the people who are not Muslims and people of other faiths. It's also with your brothers and sisters in Islam, in your religion, in your religious community. Now, when we understand this, when we understand where we are in this discussion here, it's important to carry on and to go further in our understanding of what it means here to be involved in this, because very often we have a superficial understanding. And this is why I started again all these teaching and as a legacy after writing so many books on the topic. Now, just to summarize this in some of the teachings for the people to read. I don't care about how many, I care about how much it's understood and the quality of this understanding when we are dealing with our challenges in the West, and especially, and as I'm going to talk about culture, politics, economy, and other issues here, arts even, it's important to get this. So this first step here, it's our understanding of what it means to try to get this inner peace, and how do we have to translate this as believers, men and women. So it's about being, remembering, getting knowledge, practicing, being disciplined, and it's about action as well. So this is where we understand our responsibility. Very often, we have some brothers and sisters who are saying, okay, you know what, you have to care about yourself, and this is it. And they are translating the Sufi tradition into something, take care of yourself. Don't be so much involved in the society. You are not very much responsible to change the world for the better. Care about yourself first. And very often it ends with exclusively. Well, if you follow the Prophet, as I said, إن كنتم تحبون الله فاتبعوني يحببكم الله, follow the way of the Prophet. Follow the Prophet, the messenger, peace be upon him. You understand that this was not his way. He was very, very disciplined in the way he was dealing with his heart, his life, his nights, his prayers, and his relationship with God. But he cared about human beings. He cared about the poor. He cared about women. He cared about justice. He cared about freedom. He was very much involved. He was not praying during the night and just being absent during the day. So the mission here to bear witness, it's something which is what he was trying to do, for the people to see the light of Islam, the light of the message, the truth of the message, without having to constrain the people to become, as I said last time, lakum dinukum waliya din. To you your religion, and to me mine. I have no right to impose into anybody nothing, anything that has to do with religion and faith. It's out of a free will and a free decision. And once again, our mission is not to convert. And this is where we have a second notion, which is to be understood here. You know, during the Middle Ages, we had in the Islamic tradition notions that were not coming from the Quran or the Sunnah, the Ahadith. This was an understanding by some scholars of their specific situation at that time. For example, saying, we as Muslims, we live in Muslim majority spaces, nations, or countries, and this is Dar al-Islam, it's the space of Islam. While when we are traveling, sometimes we go to Muslim minority countries or non-Muslim majority countries where Muslims as religious communities in minority, and this is Dar al-Kufr, meaning it's the abode or the Dar of negation of God, a negation of truth, or Dar al-Harb, where there is war, or wars. So this is not us. So Dar al-Islam versus Dar al-Kufr, Dar al-Harb, or Dar al-Tawheed, which is the abode of the oneness of God. So out of their historical experience, they categorize spaces depending on, okay, what are the conditions? So you have many scholars who were, and it started 9th century, 10th century. You have it in Abu Hanifa, you have it in the schools of the Hanafi or the Shafi'i. They were trying to say something about this, and some were even going very far by putting some conditions, by saying, for example, as Daraqutni was saying, it's when the Muslims own the land, are in majority, the rules are Islamic, or the rulers are Muslim. So this is what we call the abode Dar al-Islam. And when it is not, and they didn't agree with the conditions and the specifications of Dar al-Islam. And with time, many started to question this, because it was not always clear. And during the 20th century, we have many scholars who questioned this. And the European Council for Fatwa and Research was saying, okay, we have to now, there is no Dar al Kufr and Dar al Harb. Why? Because the Muslims now are millions living in the West. We can't call this. Yes, they are in minority, and this is why they came with fiqh al-aqalliyat, which is the fiqh of minorities, and they changed this by coming with fiqh al-muwatana, which is fiqh Islamic law and jurisprudence of citizenship. Because the problem of minority is how do you deal with this when, as citizens, you are not a minority? So there was a problem in the qualification and the terminology. And in one of the discussions that I had with Sheikh Al-Qaradawi, we disagreed on that point, because for him, the Muslims living in non-Muslim majority countries are in al-mujtama'at al-ukhra, meaning other societies, as if the natural situation of Muslims was to be within the Muslim majority countries. And then when they are not, they are in other societies. So he said, we keep on speaking about Dar al-Islam, and we stop talking about Dar al-Harb or Dar al-Kufr, because Muslims are there. So we need to find another way. We have someone who was working with him, Sheikh al-Mawlawi, saying in the same majlis, the European Council of Ifta, say, oh, we are going to call it Dar al-Dawah, where we are making da'wah, calling for Islam. And even with this, in our discussions, I had a problem by saying there is a misunderstanding, which was da'wah is, because in my understanding, if the people understand that da'wah is calling the people to convert to Islam, that's not da'wah. Our role, our responsibility is litakunu shuhada ala nas, is to bear witness to the truth before human beings. So is to try really to bear witness and to testify out of our behavior, our contribution to the society. Now, when you say this and you understand this, it's where having this as an understanding of what it means, you understand that the terminology is critical. You have to be clear with the terminology that you are using. So we had this binary vision of the world, Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb, based on old categorization conditions and shurut and things like this. And a new way of dealing with this terminology, but still by having a separation between Muslim majority countries and the West today. And as we know that being a minority, I said it in the first teaching, it's not new in our history, in India, in Spain, in many African countries. So how am I going to call this? And my put in this was to say, we have to avoid this binary vision now, this dual vision of the world. Why? Because if you come with the principles and the conditions that the scholars, the ancient scholars were putting, it doesn't work today. Are you more in security in Muslim majority countries than in the West? No. Do you know, are you owning the land? Not always. The rulers, are they just when they are Muslims in Muslim majority countries today? No, not really. We are not more protected, not more in security, and the rules and even the law are not implemented the right way. So all the categories and all the conditions are scattered now. You can't just rely on this. And this is why I said, in fact, we have to come back to the very notion that is in the Quran, لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ. Wherever you are in the West, and this is where now the world, al-alam kakul, but also a dar, because dar, there is this understanding that you are in something that has a meaning, a security, a protection, a space. It's dar al-shahada, because you have to be witness to your message before human beings. You, fellow brothers and sisters in humanity, in Muslim which are not majority Islamic societies, but in Muslim majority societies exactly the same. You can see exactly the same. They are lost the same way. The global culture, the global Western civilizations is everywhere in all the capitals, all the societies. So this binary vision is it's a projection which helps us to think that we belong to an entity, but we belong to principles, and the principles are betrayed everywhere. The rules are not enforced everywhere, and there are discriminations everywhere. So, as someone who has to live in this society, you understand that the old categorizations, Dar al Islam, Dar al Harb, are no longer accurate. They are not working. They are outdated. And then we have to understand a new way. Why am I stressing on this? Because it's essential for our mindset, our understanding that it's not two spaces, two worlds, two houses, so to speak, or abodes. It's very much to be part of the world, because in the global world is to understand our mission and to understand that if we are here, we enter in Islam with a shahada, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. This is the shahada. Before God is my first testimony, and then I have to testify. I have to bear witness to all, before all humanity, all my brothers and sisters in humanity, and this is my responsibility. So starting with my involvement with myself, my self-discipline, my self-education, the way I deal with my prayers, the way I'm connected to the Quran and reading the Quran, because it helps me to read myself, to read the world, to be involved into the world. This is something which is critical as our understanding. So we are connected to the book, connected to the ritual, connected to and to renewing our intention. And this is what we have to do in order to keep our fitra alive, fitra illuminated, with enlightened in ourself. And this is where we understand that by doing this, we help our heart to look at the world and not only with our eyes. Now, when we do this, we understand that in order to do this, to make peace with our own self, there is a second step, which is exactly what the Prophet, peace be upon him, taught us from the beginning. And that we have to understand, and it's important to get it in the West, to get it in our societies today, is in order to make peace with your own self, you have to spread peace around the world, within your society. You have to be a contributor, an agent of peace, social peace, cultural peace, economic peace, intellectual peace in the society. So in order to get it in, you have to work out. So this is also something that we have in the Quran. سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتِنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ. You go out to come close, you go out to come in. You are not only working in and forgetting what is happening out. You are connected to both, and you understand that in order to get this inner peace, you have to spread peace. And in order to get intimate peace, you have to be a collective, a social agent of peace. What does it mean in the West? And in which way you have to deal with this when it comes to your understanding, because it's an ongoing process. The first is to understand that outside there is something which is distinguishing us, not out of our close visibility or our way we dress. No, the way you behave. This is where and through which we have to become visible. It's an ethical distinction, which is our visibility, our first contribution, the way we are agent of peace. And this is where تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. You command what is right and you resist what is bad. This recommendation, this way of dealing or to promote something, to be for something. You command what is right, you are for something. It's, once again, the final value here, it's peace. But how I'm going to get this peace first is to start with something which is the basic teaching of Islam. All human beings are equal, is to work towards equality, black or white, women and men, whatever your social status. As a human being, as a creature, as a being, we are all equal. This is the starting point of our understanding. So no way of dismissing anyone because she or he is not a Muslim, he is not, and this is what I value. First, I may disagree with what you are doing. I may disagree with what you are believing but in the name of God, your creation is sacred and your dignity is untouchable. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. That's the first attitude that we have to have within our society, to come back to basic values, but are so lost today that we very often are completely going astray and dealing with superficial things while forgetting the essential teachings. So our way of dealing and promoting peace in the society is to be an agent of peace within the societies for justice. It's also to be for freedom, meaning freedom of expression, freedom of conscience. We should be clear with this and we should promote this. Yes, I don't agree with what you are doing and saying, but freedom of expression is essential for all of us. Lakum dinukum waliya din. Now, I may disagree with things that are permitted by law as long as I'm not obliged to do this. This is the way I'm going to deal with the society. And this is where Muslims should understand the difference between ethical commitment and political space. In the political space, you have to understand that people are doing things that you are not going to accept, but you have to understand that the law are helping you to be dealt with justice, and you have to respect the law of the land and respect taltazim, meaning you don't agree. As I said, I told you last time, it's not about ihtiram, but iltizam, which is I abide by the law. And it's for justice. So when I'm dealing with this and when I'm trying to be involved in the society, I'm promoting what is good and resisting evil. But promoting what is good is really to be promoting, and it starts with what? As a human being, how am I going to respect the dignity of human beings? Understanding the verse of the Quran, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. In order to be a human being and to remain a human being and to help the people to reach a state where they can be conscious, when they can have this consciousness, this freedom, the choice, you have to respect for them anything which has to do with basic needs. Food, drink. This is something which is not disputable. Any society that is not providing the people with the basic needs, it's unjust by definition. So we have to be involved with the poor and to promote this, the dwelling and the house and the home in order to get security. So it's food in order to live. It's home in order to live in security. And then it's education in order to develop, which is part of what is needed. There is no humanity where there is no education. There is no protected humanity where there is no homes. And there is no humanity when there is no basic needs provided. This is why you have to be involved wherever you are. So instead of only thinking about the global south, you have in your society, look at what is happening. The millions of people who are not dealing with enough food and enough security, no homes, homeless, and people have no education in the United States of America, in so many European countries, in Australia. So this is unacceptable. Are you part? Are you involved as agents of peace by dealing with this, which is part of the basic needs, homes, education, no discrimination between men and women, black, Asian, white people, no discrimination, no domination. So this is why we have to be involved. This is the very meaning of how, in which way we have to deal with this and to promote this for our fellow brothers. It's about really about, food, shelter, education. This is and security. This is something which, and freedom. These are basic needs. Now this is four, and we have to be the agents of peace in the society by promoting these rules, promoting these principles, promoting these rights. Now, when you are an agent of peace, you're not only, people, promoting peace and love as in the 60s. Yes, peace and love, it's still part of the whole process. We have to promote peace and to promote love. But on your way towards peace, you will have people who are not peaceful people. And you have to resist. In order to get peace, you have to resist those who are not ready for peace and they are exploiting, killing, and you have to resist. So the way towards peace is not a peaceful way. It's about resistance. It's about stand up. It's about resisting what is bad. And this is part of the struggle. So it's twofold. This, for us, is something that we have to repeat and to say to our brothers and sisters, and all these people who are so very much dealing with this is really about having an idealistic way of dealing with this. النهي عن المنكر, resisting and prohibiting what is bad and what is wrong. So when it comes to this, the other side of the coin here is very much about, okay, what are we doing today? And look at the world. We live in the West, and the West is the center, is the head of the global civilization, what we call globalization from a cultural viewpoint. And there is something which is unacceptable, is the way we treat nature. So resisting what we do in the name of our comfort, in the name of money, economic powers and transnational corporations, in the name of lobbies, we are destroying nature. And what we have in the Quran is ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس. So corruption is everywhere. We knew this from the very beginning. The angels said to God, why are you creating a being that's going to corrupt the creation? God responded, I know what you don't know. So that's fine, we don't know why, but this is the reality. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. We are going to destroy it. So our response, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. The people are going to resist this natural trend of destruction, of corruption, are those who believe and help one another towards what is good and resisting what is bad. And this is what we have to do, respecting nature. This is not only, ecologies coming out of catastrophes, is ecology coming out of our principles, the basic principles. Respect God means respect nature. Respecting nature means that it's a way for us to remember and to spread peace. We have to spread peace with nature, to make peace with nature and the cosmos, which is today, as we see, the global warming is everywhere, and the catastrophe, and nature responding. And this is what we have in the Quran. لِيُذِيقَهُمْ بَعْضَ الَّذِي عَمِلُوا. God is going to make us taste what we have been doing. And this is what we see: floods, fire, people being killed. Unfortunately, but now it's changing, because before it was only in the global south that they were paying the price of what the north and the rich countries, industrialized countries, were doing. Now it's changing, and we have this in California, we have this in the States, we have this in Europe, in everywhere. So no one is protected. As long as we disrespect nature, nature is going to make us pay the price. So it's about it, but it's also about political domination, is exploitation, marginalization, violence within our society. So this is why we have to be involved against racism, against the black people, against the Latinos, against racism is unacceptable. Resistance to racism is essential. Resistance towards to poverty is something which is, as I said, part of our struggle from the very beginning. So, and it has to be done locally, nationally, but also internationally. It's not in the name of my citizenship, I'm just going to care about the people of my country. Yes, as a first involvement, you have to look at what is going on around you. That's essential. And this is why zakat is تُؤْخَذْ مِنْ أَغْنِيَائِهِمْ لِفُقَرَائِهِمْ. You have to pay this zakat for the people around you. So you have to have this awareness, this consciousness of the people. Don't look very far by neglecting the people around you. No, respect the people around you. But at the same time, you have to understand that it's systemic. It's all this is connected. It's not too far from what is happening in the Middle East. It's not what is happening in India, what is happening in Burma, what is happening in Rwanda, what is happening in the Central Africa. All this is connected. So you have to be involved with this, and this is the way you are an agent of peace, by promoting all the values I was talking about, but also resisting all the bad behavior and exploitation, discrimination, colonization. All this is part of our way of being agent of peace. So agent of peace, and once again, I keep on repeating this, and I will repeat it once again. Islam is not a religion of peace. Islam is a religion calling for peace. Peace is our ideal, and on our way towards peace, there are conditions and principles. And calling for peace is you have to make peace with yourself, because naturally, after you are conscious, you are aware, and you get your consciousness, you are in trouble. So you need to educate yourself in order to get this peace. So you are not at peace naturally. You were when you were a child, but now you are no longer. So you have to struggle to educate yourself to get this peace. A religion for peace, an education for peace. The same with the society. It's not to sit down and say, okay, it's a religion of peace. No, it's stand up and do what you have to do to get this peace. So by promoting what is right, but also resisting people, because you have people who are going to exploit, people who are going to lie, people who are going to dominate, people who are going to kill. So where are you in this process? Is you sit down and say, oh, it's a religion of peace. No. I'm not going to sit down. I'm not going to be min al-qa'idin, those who are sitting down. I have to wake up at the local level, at the national level, understanding that all these things are connected. So in the name of my peace here, I'm exploiting people there. So as we have it in the West, it's democratic society, but we are supporting all the dictators over there. That's not acceptable. And this is exactly what happened with Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King, they killed him at the very moment he said, there's something wrong in the whole process. In fact, I now understand that the way you are dealing with the Vietnamese, it's exactly the way you are dealing with the black people. So I was concerned with the black people here, but now I understand it's the same process. In fact, he understood that it's not only the same process, that behind it there is a system. There is a way of looking at the world, a way of looking at human beings. So he got this, and they killed him. And this is exactly what they are doing wherever you have someone who is coming with this deep consciousness of everything is connected. So being an agent of peace means that we are going to be involved in our society, and this is why we have to do the job. And this is the way we have to do it. Having said this now, and the last point that I wanted to make is just being an agents of peace, men and women, understanding our mission, understanding that we have to be involved, that these are concentric circles, but it's not about I care about myself and then I will see what I can do elsewhere. No. By caring about yourself, you have to deal with what is around you, because this is going to help you. So by helping others, you help yourself. By giving, you receive. By spreading, you get insight. By transforming this centrifugal forces, you come back with a centripetal force, that this is the way you are going to have this balance between what is how I'm going to work outside is going to help me. So this is something which is so important as a spiritual teaching. Give, you receive. Spread, you will come back to yourself. Go, and you will come back. So the very exile is the exile coming back and bringing you back to yourself, which is, in order to get your fitra, you have to interact with human beings and your fellow human beings, Muslims or people of other faiths. And the last point here, when it comes to this, and this is being agents of peace, it's all about reconciliation, because you are reconciling yourself with your own values, and the values you cherish within, you are just trying to reconcile yourself. And in the West, what we are trying to do, and all the people are saying, you Muslims, you are going to separate yourself, you want to live in community far from the people, you are creating walls between us and you, and we keep on saying us and them, us and them. No, our main mission in the West is to help the West to reconcile itself, and the Western countries and the Western societies and the Western politicians and the Western intellectuals, our fellow Western citizens, to reconcile themselves with their own value. We are trying to reconcile. You speak about freedom of speech? Okay, let us speak about freedom. Equal rights? Let us implement equal rights. Equal opportunities? Yes, let us speak about equal opportunities. Let us do this. We are agent of peace, meaning agent of reconciliations. We are not buying your words. We want your words. We come to come with actions, and we are trying at our level to translate into actions the principles that we share together, our shared principles and action, in order to reconcile action and principles, which is in fact الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات. This is the way, this is our responsibility, this is the way we are going to try, and we have to be involved in the society. This is a mission, this is not easy. We'll carry on this journey in understanding how we have to deal with our fellow brothers and sisters in the Western societies. Don't forget to tell the people you love that you love them. Be in peace, and see you for the next teaching.